welcome to yoga. Today's practice will be on the floor. We won't have any standing poses. This is a practice that I like to do just to kind of wind down or relax, or if I'm feeling kind of groggy. So we'll start out in our easy seated position or sukhasana, much like crisscross applesauce. Finding our two sits bones beneath us as we lengthen up through the spine. Then really start to tune in with our breath. Let's bring the hands to the heart, pressing firmly into all 10 fingers. Relaxing the elbows. We're going to inhale, pressing upward toward the sky, and then exhale, pulling down toward the heart. So very gently here, starting to find our breath with movement. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Anytime that our mind starts to wander during our practice, let's just bring our attention back to our breath. Exhaling the hands down to the heart. Kind of starting to relax the jaw. We'll inhale the shoulders up to the ears and then relax them back and down. So taking a deep inhale and then exhaling very slowly, chin to chest. We want to be very gentle with our neck, so moving very, very gradually into each position. Slowly inhale up, then pressing the tongue to the roof of the mouth, we're going to lift the chin up toward the ceiling, opening the throat. Taking a breath here. Slowly exhaling back to center. And we'll bring the right hand onto the head and just gently guide the head to our right shoulder. So we can open up the left side of our neck. We aren't pulling it, we're just kind of guiding it with the hand. Taking care to relax that left shoulder. We'll guide it back to center and then bring the opposite hand on, guiding it with the left hand this time, opening the right side of the neck. Relaxing the right shoulder. Then guiding it back to center. Taking our hands just barely behind us, we'll find a heart opener here. So we're just bringing the fingertips slightly back behind, and I'll move to the side so it's easier to see, so that we can open the heart. So everybody's hands will come into a different place here depending on how far we can reach back. But what we want to do is feel the chest open. If it feels better to take 2 fists into the lower back and then draw the shoulder blades back together. Or if we'd like to advance, we can interlace the fingers and then pull those hands down toward the earth. I like to open my mouth here and feel that breath move through the throat. Releasing those shoulders, releasing the hands. We'll come back into our seated position just like normal. And then inhale, lengthen up, exhale, spine sinks back toward the wall behind us. Chin comes into the chest, starting our seated cat-cow. So we'll inhale, pressing forward, bringing the chin up toward the sky. And then exhale, curl back. So this is our seated cat. And then inhale forward, seated cow. I'm keeping my hands on my knees just for some more stability. We always want to start and end with the pelvis, just like we do in regular cat-cow, Vinyasa. We slowly inhale back up to center, relax the shoulders. We'll place the right fingertips on the floor next to us and then walk them away as we open the left side of the body. Bring those fingertips up toward the sky with the left hand. Exhale that left hand down, walk those fingertips away, and we'll open through the right side. We can keep the gaze up toward our elbow, or we can just gaze forward, whatever feels best for our necks. And we'll come back to center. We'll just continue moving through this breath with movement. Inhale, opening one side. Exhale, closing it up, and then inhale, opening the other. Back and forth. We should feel a really great stretch from the hip to the fingertip, almost like we're stretching a rubber band from the floor all the way through the side of our body, opening up the space between the ribs and the hips. We're going to starfish the hands out in front of us about shoulder width apart. Uncrossing the ankles, we'll press forward into our neutral spine. Knees and hands are both hip width or shoulder width apart. And let's make sure that our fingers are all spread wide. And we're going to press back into an extended child's pose, just letting the hips rest back toward the heels. Resting the forehead there on the mat. If it's uncomfortable to rest the head all the way on the mat, we can use a block, or we can use 2 fists beneath our forehead, or a pillow or a blanket. If we need a little bit more space, we can spread the knees apart, finding kind of a V or an A shape. That'll also give us a deeper stretch. And we're just breathing here, grounding ourselves, and taking a moment to be still, especially if we don't have a lot of time in the day to do a full-length yoga class. This is a great opportunity to slow down and check in with our breathing, which are 2 of the best ways to really get something out of our yoga classes: slowing down and breathing. Let's bring those knees back together and then press up into our neutral spine. And we're going to kind of bring the knees back a little bit further behind our hips, finding a kneeling plank so our core is engaged. Exhaling, we'll let those elbows brush past our ribs as we press forward into a kneeling crocodile, and then open the hands for a cobra, little bend in the arms. And then we'll press the hips back toward the heels, extended child's pose. So this is just a little flow. Moving through, engaging the core as we sink down into half crocodile, opening up into cobra, and then pressing back, extended child's. And with each movement, we use that breath to guide us and find our pace. And inhale forward, finding our neutral spine, and tucking the toes under, pressing the hips back toward the heels, will lift the tailbone up toward the sky. So really keeping those knees drawn into the chest so that we can lengthen through the spine. And then we can start to kind of cycle the heels out, stretching the backs of the calves. Lengthening through the spine is most important. It's more important than letting the heels touch the floor. Head is floating between the elbows, and then we can start to draw the heels closer to the mat. We'll inhale forward into our high or kneeling plank pose. Core is engaged, shoulders are stacked above the wrists. Let's make sure that our hips are about level with our shoulders. And we're just going to breathe here, holding our plank. Plank is great because it engages the core, it engages the glutes and the lower back. We work on the shoulders also. We'll exhale back, find our down dog, hips up in the sky again. Maybe cycling those heels back and forth more, stretching out the calves. We're going to take 3 more deep breaths here, Heart toward the toes, hips toward the sky. Coming into our neutral spine now, dropping the knees to the floor. Bring the hands directly beneath the shoulders and the knees directly beneath the hips. Coming into our kneeling side plank. So hip is supported by the knee on the floor. Left leg is extended. Right hand is directly beneath the shoulder. We'll open that left hand up toward the sky. We can gaze upward. We can gaze forward. If we'd like to advance, we can stretch out that right leg beneath the left leg, kind of stacking the feet, keeping the hips lifted, opening up that way. So we have two options. We can keep the knee on the floor, or we can advance and come into our full side plank. Great job. That was tough. Take an exhale. And we'll come into our neutral spine again and move to the opposite side. So this time, left leg comes out at an angle, directly beneath the hip. Right leg stretches out across the mat. And we're supported by the left hand there on the floor. And if we'd like to advance, stacking the feet again, making sure the shoulder is stacked right above the wrist. We're engaging the core and breathing, not letting the hips sink down too low. One more breath here. And then we'll bring that hand back down onto the mat. And we'll kind of roll the wrists a couple times, open and close the fingers, kind of relax those hands. Finding our neutral spine again. Inhale, lengthen the right arm directly out in front of us. And when we feel good there, extending the left heel back behind. We want to be sure that the hand and heel are in line with the rest of the body, and the hips and shoulders are level. We're pressing directly into the floor with the right knee and the left hand. We'll exhale, crunch, knee to elbow, inhale, extending outward. And if practicing with the hand and the knee is uncomfortable, or we just can't do that today, we can just do one or the other. That's an option. Keeping life in those fingertips, all 5 fingers are spread wide. We want to keep the heel flexed here. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunching in. And then we'll drop that hand and knee back down to the floor, kind of roll the left wrist a bit, and then extend left hand out, right heel back behind. Checking to make sure that we're all in line, hip isn't hiking up. We'll crunch in, knee to elbow, inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, reach out. Exhale, pull in. Inhale, reach out. Back and forth at our own pace, remembering to keep that breath and movement linked. Toes are curling up toward the shin. So coming into our neutral spine again, we're going to send the hips back toward the heels. Maybe just kind of roll the fingers onto their backs so we can stretch out the wrists, and then roll them the opposite way, fingertips on the mat, stretch out the hands, and then we'll just bring those hands to rest. Starting our 3-way child's pose stretch. We're going to walk the fingertips over to the left side of the mat, stretching through the right side body. Feeling that openness and space between the ribs. crawl those fingers back to center and then bring them over to the right side of the mat, kind of relaxing that left elbow. We're lengthening again from the hip to the fingertips. And gently crawling the fingertips back to center, resting the forehead on that mat or on the block or fists in front of us. Breathing, and then we'll inhale, walking the hands up the knees into a kneeling position. Or if it feels good for our feet, we can curl the toes under and get a little bit more of a foot stretch here. So if this is not accessible to us for whatever reason, we can keep the feet flat on the floor behind us, or we can rise up into a high kneeling position, just stacking the hips above the knees. So whichever position we choose to do, we're going to find our thunderbolt pose, Vajrasana. Interlacing our fingers here above our head, bringing the palms to face the sky, open, tall and strong. We're going to start our breath, inhaling, letting the belly expand, and then exhaling, drawing the navel back toward the spine. We have our foundation in the floor beneath us. So finding a lot of strength here in this pose, remembering to keep the shoulders relaxed back and down. We have that breath and strength there through our core, and we have our lengthening and growth up toward the sky. Exhaling, we'll let those hands come back down into our lap. And just relaxing the shoulders here. We're going to inhale the shoulders directly up to the ears like they're earrings, and then exhale, release. We'll do that one more time. Inhale straight up to the ears. Exhale, drop the shoulders. We're going to rock the hips back behind into our easy seated Sukhasana crisscross applesauce position. Get comfortable here. Lengthen up nice and tall. And then sink the spine back toward the wall behind us. We're starting to find some spinal circles. We're rounding over toward the right side. Pressing the heart out past the feet, moving over toward the left side, back around. We'll go around one more time in the same direction, slowing our breath. Then we'll switch directions and come over toward the left side first. Heart comes past the feet, over to the right side, back again toward the left side. When we get back to where we started, we'll inhale nice and tall, and we're actually going to go around a third time with that spinal circle. And if you'd like to add a third time in the opposite direction too, feel free. And then we'll just come back to center and lengthen up nice and tall. Inhale, opening the heart, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Preparing for our crisscross twist pose, we'll inhale our left hand straight up in the air and then cross it over to our right knee. Sweeping the chest open with the right hand and moving through the torso, we'll support ourselves with the right hand behind us. And notice that the head and neck follow very last. The majority of our twist is going to come through the torso, and then head and neck just follow. Now as we sit here, lengthening through the spine a little bit with each inhale, and then exhale, twisting just a little deeper. On the next inhale, we'll bring that right hand straight up in the air, cross it over to the left knee. Exhale, let the spine sink back toward the wall behind us and draw the chin into the chest. So we're opening the space between the shoulder blades. And let's inhale tall. This time we're releasing the left hand from the right knee, coming into our twist on this side. So again, moving through the torso first, bringing that left hand back behind for support. Little breaths here. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, sink a little deeper. Then on the next inhale, we'll bring that left hand straight up into the sky, cross it over onto the right knee. Again, rocking the pelvis back, spine reaches back toward the wall, chin gently comes into the chest. We should feel a really great spine stretch here. And we should also feel a really awesome openness there between our shoulders. So breathing into that open space, taking care of ourselves, being gentle, listening to our body. On the next inhale, we'll open up nice and tall, releasing both hands from the knees. We'll bring those hands a little bit back behind our hips for a heart opener. And then exhale, drawing our feet out in front of us, preparing for staff pose. We can keep the hands on the lap or we can set them down at our sides. Here we'll breathe, lengthening through the spine, engaging the core. And as we're ready, starting to fold forward. So we're walking into this seated forward fold. Inhale, lengthening through the spine, and exhale, sinking a little deeper. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, sinking. Really taking our time with this as we fold forward. When we start to come to a stopping place, if it feels good, we can start to relax the head and the neck, finding a comfortable place to rest our hands. And let's concentrate on breathing into the lower back. Maybe feeling the breath expand there. Not staying too long, we'll inhale slowly, hinging back up into our staff pose and preparing for cradled baby. Bending the left knee, holding onto the calf with both hands, we're going to draw that leg up toward our chest, keeping a long spine. If we would like to advance here, we can bring the arch of the foot into the bend of the elbow and pull up from there. So this is kind of a similar sensation to our pretzel or pigeon or standing pigeon, but we're seated and there's a little bit less force here because we don't have body weight going into it. Gently letting that leg back down onto the floor, we'll bend the right knee and pull that shin or calf into our hands. And if we'd like that deeper stretch, finding the arch in the bend of the left elbow, pulling the other arm around, and then we're flexing those toes toward our shin. Pulling the leg upward, we should have a lower back stretch here, maybe a little bit of a hip stretch. Then we gently set that leg back on the floor and find our easy seated pose. And here we'll prepare for our alternate nostril breathing. Sometimes it helps to have a tissue handy. Taking our left hand, using our ring finger, our pinky, or our index finger with our thumb, Going to alternatingly close and open each nostril. So starting with closing the left nostril with the thumb, we'll inhale through the right. Close that up with the ring finger, exhale through the left. Then inhale through the left. Close that up with the thumb, exhale through the right nostril. Inhale through the right nostril. Close it up with the ring finger. Exhale through the left nostril. Inhale here. Close it up with the thumb. And exhale. And we'll just continue with this. You can go at your own pace if you like it. We're just taking our time breathing. This breathing exercise is used to stimulate both sides of the brain. It's also a calming breathing exercise, and we just want to take our time with it. A good way to remember the pattern for this breath exercise is that we always are switching right before we exhale again. Let's gently release the hand back to the knee. Resume our normal breathing, and then pulling the knees up toward the chest, we'll gently rock back onto the floor. We can ease down onto the elbows if that feels better, and then just hug the knees here into our apanasana pose, rocking from side to side. Maybe giving the lower back a little bit of a massage, just letting our spine become more acquainted with the earth beneath us. And starting another breathing exercise here. This one is great for digestion. Taking the palms onto the tops of the knees, we'll inhale, extending the arms, pressing the knees away from us, and exhale, bending the elbows, pulling the knees back into our body. This breath exercise is very slow and methodical. Inhaling, pressing the knees away. Exhaling, pulling them back in. We're just moving very gently, very slowly, starting to deepen our breath, quiet our movements. We'll release the hands from those knees and extend the right leg out long, letting that right heel hover, engaging the core, and then we'll pull that knee back into the chest, extend the left heel, back and forth, finding our bicycle legs. Just letting the arms rest at our sides and the core do all the work. Moving through this practice slowly, breathing as we go. And letting both feet rest on the mat, we'll start our windshield wiper breath. So inhale, knees are at center. Exhale, knees over to the left side of the mat. Inhale, knees back to center. And exhale over to the right side. Going at our own pace with our own breath, our inhales always find the center space, and the exhales always find either side of our mat. Back and forth, a little gentle twist here. And as always, things are slow, just taking our time. Coming back to center and preparing for our final relaxation pose. We can rest the knees against one another with the feet about mat width apart if that's more comfortable for our lower back. Or we can take the feet together, opening the knees out wide into a butterfly position. We need a little hip stretch. We can also do legs up the wall. If we have a wall at home, we can just scoot over toward the wall, let the legs stretch up it. Or we can do the traditional shavasana or corpse pose with the heels at least mat width apart, palms open down at our sides, just flat on the mat, breathing. As we find ourselves resting in this short, peaceful practice, we have a reading today, and the author is unknown. If you know who they are, you can place that name in the comments. But it goes, peace. It does not mean to be in a place where there is no noise, trouble, or hard work. It means to be in the midst of those things and still be calm in your heart. So just finding some of that calm here. Paying attention to the stillness in our breath. Even when things around us don't seem to be peaceful or still or quiet, we can still take a breath and find that quiet, still, peace place in our hearts. Deep breaths here. Inhaling, filling up with what we need. Exhaling, making space. Letting go of what we don't. Starting to wiggle the fingers and toes. Rolling the wrists and ankles, we can rock the head from side to side. We're going to stretch the hands up above the head. On the next inhale, lengthening, stretching the fingers and toes, lengthening across the room. Exhale, release. Taking a breath here. We'll bend the knees, let them fall over to either side of our mat, into our baby pose. We'll just tuck our arm underneath our head. Finding a couple more moments of quiet. As we're ready, pressing up off of the floor into our easy seated pose. Resting the hands here on our knees, relaxing the shoulders and lengthening tall. We'll pull the hands into our heart. Inhale, lengthening. I am present. Exhale, pulling back to the heart. Inhale, lengthening. I am open. Exhaling. And inhaling tall, I am awake. And exhaling back to the heart. Peace. And have a great day. If you would like to see more yoga videos, feel free to comment below. Tell me what you'd like to see or what you would like to learn more about. And thank you so much for practicing with me today.